he and his wife have not only a house in Sarasota, they've got a condo on Siesta Key, and they let me stay in their condo.
Oh, wow.
And whenever I'm down there, and it's
Pretty nice.
oh yeah, you know that beach is so beautiful. It's right on.
Yeah, I could
Beach.
escape to the
We
Keys.
must all have
Stay.
touch us.
You know, it's you
Got a
can't
little
you
warm
can't tell
for a couple-
spring is here. You know, we're all ready to. Come on. I moved a bunch of tulip bulbs last fall, and I'm looking down at my old tulip bed, and I'm seeing all these bulbs popping up, thinking, God, I didn't get them all. I got to start digging. I got to get out there this weekend and start moving bulbs.
She mentioned tulip bulbs. I have crocuses that somebody planted that have been coming up, but I haven't seen any sign of them.
I don't have any crocuses up yet either.
So maybe it's I'm sorry.
I have 4-inch crocuses up right now.
Okay, well, I haven't got a single one.
I've got,
I don't either.
This weather, you'd think those would be up.
I've got tulip bulbs
Yeah,
that are like this, but
You'd think crocuses would, but maybe an animal came and,
Help
I have
us.
deer that come.
yeah.
Yeah, deer have been coming into my yard.
Yeah, I do have an occasional bulb that pops up where it shouldn't be, and I'm sure the squirrels are at fault.
Helping you out a little bit.
Yeah, moving stuff around.
So it's our,
We need one more in order
Yeah.
to have a quorum.
Well, the way, just so you guys know, and I hope I'm not violating OMA in saying this, our rules state that.
Here we go.
All right, got a
So-
quorum.
We have a quorum.
We need you.
All of there must be some horrific accent.
Really?
Where?
All of 31 is shut down.
You're
And I had
kidding.
to go all the way back and go up through the hills and come back.
Where do you
I mean,
live?
there had to have been 3 ambulances and fire trucks. And
Where do you live?
Oh, my God.
Well, I was picking up my son from playing tennis at the resort. I live at the college,
Oh, okay.
but I'm driving back, and I had lots of time.
Bad being the key word.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, Jason, you were
No, that's all right.
interrupted.
Sorry.
Is this it?
This is going to be it for the meeting, and once David's situated, then I'll start the meeting. The reason for that is Rule 6-1, our presiding officer, in the absence of the president, the vice president shall preside. If neither the president nor vice president is present, the secretary shall call the meeting to
Who's
order.
not here?
So we don't have a rule for calling the meeting to order. By default, I will default back to the rules associated with the first meeting of the year, where I call the meeting to order and immediately open the floor up for voting for a president pro tem to run this meeting. So
I can do it and get out of here quick.
Michael just knocked on the wall. So I'd like to call the meeting to order in absence of our president, vice president, and secretary. And I would like to, actually, I have to open up for roll call first. Roll call.
Pete Doran, Carl Brown,
Here.
Bob Karstens,
Here.
Bill Dorier, David Grams.
Here.
Rodetta Heron,
Yes.
Rebecca Cass, Chris Maxbauer.
Here.
Kevin McAuley, Scott Robertson.
Here. I'd like to open the floor up for nominations for President Pro Tem for tonight's meeting.
I'd like to nominate Chris Maxbauer,
I'd second that.
Christine, excuse me.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to nominate Christine Maxbauer as the President Pro Tem for our meeting tonight. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
All right.
Passes.
At this time, we will have our first public comment. Seeing none,
Tell them all not to talk at once.
seeing none, any additions to the agenda?
I have a removal from the agenda.
All right.
And that removal is at the request of a member of the public. They've asked that the Howe Arena fees be removed from this agenda and be placed on April's agenda.
Fine.
Okay.
Anything else, Jason?
That's it for me.
Verizon?
We can discuss that.
All right.
There won't be any action taken on it this evening, but we can
Okay.
discuss.
All right. Jason, any special orders of business or presentations?
Not tonight.
All righty. Next is on our agenda is the consent calendar. The consent calendar, I will read what is for the public what the consent calendar is. The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items to be dealt with by one commission motion without discussion. Any member of the commission, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed therefrom and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will automatically be respected. If any item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted, receive and file or approval, is approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. On tonight's consent calendar, receive and file the 2012 budget report, performance measures, Rules Committee update, communications, there are none, Parks Commission meeting per diems, there are no referrals, approvals, Parks and Rec Commission minutes of February 16th, 2012, and the Parks and Rec Commission minutes OCA meeting of February 9th, 2012. Does any member of the commission or staff would, do you want it? I'll get the words out. I haven't done this in a while. Would anyone like anything removed from the consent calendar? All right, seeing nothing, I would entertain a motion for approval of
I'll
the
make that motion.
I second it.
discussion. All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is Director's Report. Jason.
All right, I don't mean to speed through my report, but there are a few things that I wanted to touch on that aren't specifically listed, so I'm going to omit some of the other items on my report. Let me get to my report. One moment, please.
What, oh,
All right, I just wanted to give a follow-up on the Parks and Recreation Commissioner Workshop. I think the majority of you were there, and I appreciate your attendance at the workshop. I think there was some great discussion, and I've received nothing but positive feedback from the folks that were in attendance about wanting to actually have another workshop very similar to that. I think it opened up a lot of good discussion that in the 5 years I've been here, we've not had that type of back and forth conversation in regards to what's going on comprehensively throughout Grand Traverse County in the parks and recreation industry. The presentation by Harry Burkholder and Ann Conklin in regards to parks and recreation partnering, I thought was excellent, and I think there are some really great opportunities for us to collaborate more within the community and possibly entertain a Parks and Recreation Authority that could better serve the needs of the citizens of Grand Traverse County from a recreational perspective. So I also wanted to take this opportunity one more time to thank Gosling Zubek for sponsoring the event. We wouldn't have been able to hold that event without their financial support, and it was great to see them involved because they are a local company, and they do have a variety of expertise in the parks and recreation industry. So thank you for all that were there. I think our communities, several of the folks that I've talked to are interested in the Parks and Recreation Authority, and I know leading into my next topic that we discussed it quite heavily at the Parks and Recreation Network meeting that we had on Thursday, March 8th. Parks and Recreation Network is set up, and I think I shared this at our last meeting. The Parks and Rec Network would like to set up a clearinghouse website, essentially, that lists all of the parks and recreation opportunities within Grand Traverse County that could be edited by each individual organization within the county that offers programs or parks. The challenge with that is we were supposed to be discussing that heavily at our meeting on March 8th, but that was contingent on a meeting with LIAA that was supposed to happen earlier in the week. The meeting with LIAA got canceled because of the power outages, so that meeting's been rescheduled. The focus of our Parks and Recreation Network meeting, though, turned to authorities and turned to different opportunities for partnering amongst our organizations, both at the local unit level as well as at the Parks and Recreation provider level. And we talked about different opportunities for partnering between the two sections. It was interesting. There was a question that stuck in my mind that was that was asked by Herb Lemkool and at the Parks and Rec workshop, and he asked Harry Burkholder, who are the key people to push forward for a Parks and Recreation Authority? And Harry's answer was, and I'll paraphrase, I certainly can't quote him, was that it needs to be kind of a three-legged stool associated with support for a Parks and Recreation Authority in the community. It needs to come from the citizens, it needs to come from the individual organizations, as well as the elected officials. And I think Herb was leading towards who should take this on. Should this be a county Parks and Recreation department or commission issue? Should it be a county issue? Should it be each individual township? And to be honest with you, one of the underlying and one of the nice things, the way the Parks and Recreation Network aligns, is it draws together members of each of those groups to support that stool. At our Parks and Recreation Network, we had 20 people in attendance, and those 20 people were very adamant and unanimously agreed that the Parks and Recreation Network should be one of the strongest advocates, if not the main advocate for a Parks and Recreation Authority, because the network already has all the key players in the room. So as we move forward, our next meeting is April 12th with the Parks and Recreation Network. I'll be able to give an update from that meeting at our Parks and Recreation Commission meeting, which is going to be April 19th of next month. But I think we have some exciting news to talk about in the Parks and Recreation Network. And
Where do they meet?
they meet at the Civic Center meeting room. And our meetings alternate between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. each month. We found that within the Parks and Recreation Network, we have about 50% of the folks that are there as employees for their organization, and their organization wants their involvement. The other half are volunteers that volunteer their time to other organizations, and they have day jobs. So we're going to alternate our meetings between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. to accommodate both groups.
And
Jason, if I may, Bob, I see you writing feverishly. Is there interest from board members to attend that April 12th meeting, just to sit and listen? And the reason I ask that is if there is, I would want to be sure that Jason posted it.
well, to me, I attend a lot of the Grand Vision meetings, but I'm interested in just seeing the process.
And that's
And at
fine,
times,
and if
yeah.
other commissioners are as well, that's perfectly fine. I mean, we would not participate in the meeting, but
Right,
still,
no, just to
if we have
see
a
what
quorum
goes
there,
on, yeah.
if we have a quorum there, it needs to be posted.
Oh, that's right, I forgot about that.
I'm not going to be there.
So,
Christine, I've been at each of them as a representative, both from here and for TCAPS, so.
Just to be on the safe side, Jason, why don't you go ahead and post it?
Okay.
I'm hearing,
Sure.
Scott goes, Bob is interested in going, and you could send out an email to the other parks commissioners and tell them, they won't be participating in the meeting, but if they would like to just come and listen.
To be honest with you, we can post it. I'd rather err on the side of caution by posting it versus
Me too.
not. But just so you know, it's interestingly enough, at our OCA meeting, we kind of got off on a rabbit trail associated with I think you called it, Commissioner Maxbauer, a social enterprise. And essentially, that's what the Parks and Recreation Network is. It's a social enterprise associated with being an advocate and being a resource for each of the individual Parks and Recreation organizations in the community, as well as the local units of government. That being said, you guys are all welcome to attend. We certainly wouldn't turn anyone away. But we do a lot of talking about how we can be more utilitarian to each other, how we can do stronger partnerships. I'd welcome any of you to attend. And anyone that attends is, I don't know, I wouldn't say is expected to participate, but I run the meetings, and I ensure that anyone that shows up gets a word in edgewise. So just be aware of that.
and so is this next meeting on April 12th in the morning, or?
It's at 6 p.m.
It's a 6 p.m.
Yep.
meeting.
So are there any questions about the workshop or the Parks and Recreation Network update?
I have some kind of just questions as it
Sure.
relates to all of this, not so much the meeting itself. So you mentioned a few things I wanted to kind of ask about. One was the three-legged stool
Yes.
metaphor. and the case for a Parks Authority. This is kind of where I'm at. I see two reasons for a Parks Authority. One is the obvious money, okay, and shared resources. The other is being able to potentially provide more services. If you have a limited budget, you can share resources. I guess maybe you're providing more for the community. You talked about this three-legged stool, or as far as if a Parks and Rec, or rather, if a Parks Authority is to go forward, you need strong support from each of those legs. I feel, and maybe it's just because I'm green, no pun intended, I kind of feel like, outside of just generically what I've said, I don't feel strongly about a Parks Authority, and it's not that I'm against it, it's that I have no clue how much money is saved, or you know, no specifics have been given about this program could be shared or this, and I guess maybe at some point in the future we'll get to that point where there's a list, and it's like, okay, if we create this authority, then X amount of dollars will be saved, this is how it'll be saved, these are the services that'll be enhanced. You kind of follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I can answer that.
Yeah.
The Parks and Recreation, within the Parks and Recreation Network, we have no idea either.
Yeah. It's right in the very beginning stages.
Sure, and it's to be honest with you, it might be kind of slow going at first, because this is to some people this is a very sensitive topic, because there's quite a bit of territorialism associated with what programs historically have always run a very specific way, or by what group.
And you're breaking ground too. I mean, based on the meeting we're hearing, this is pretty unique.
So what we're doing within the Parks and Recreation Network, one of the main task I have leading into our next meeting is to begin developing some type of a model of how that would work. I certainly am not going to tell you next month I'm going to come to you and say, you know, we could save, I think there are $3 million total in 2010 spent on Parks and Recreation in Grand Traverse County, amongst combining all Parks and Recreation budgets. I'm not going to tell you in April, I'm going to say we can save $750,000 of that, but we are working at the forefront of putting together some type of a model or some type of business model that would be, that could help explain some of that and help clarify. I think one of the key roles from an organizational standpoint, which within our organization, I look at that as being essentially me, is one of the key roles for the organizations individually is to educate people about the possibilities of an authority. We don't know those yet, but that's going to be one of the key things, because it's certainly, I think, inappropriate at this point for me to start shouting from the rooftops, let's create a Parks and Recreation Authority, because everybody in the community is going to say, what is that? And it's, as a Parks and Recreation professional, I think it's my duty to help educate and help explain that to the community. And that's part of the process that I'm cognizant of and will work in.
Just two more quick comments, then I'll be quiet.
This is a great meeting for questions.
Yeah, that's why I'm taking advantage of that. So yeah, and one of the legs is the citizens, and clearly, I mean, if I'm asking questions, I'm on the Parks and Rec, and clearly the citizens at this point lack any understanding about, I mean, they're not going to come forward in a mob and say, give us our Parks and, Parks Authority quite yet. So that would be down the road. The last thing I wanted to mention is, when we talk about a relationship, I kind of see it as you have facilities and you have programming. And I'm sure this is something that you've thought of long ago, but in my mind, the way communication and trust will be the beginning foundation for everything that happens later on, and perhaps instead of establishing some authority, that all-encompassing thing in the beginning, maybe picking some piece programming or whatnot where those lines of communication get worked out and that level of trust starts to build for something larger down the road. Again, I'm sure that's something that has been discussed, but it's just my thought I wanted to share.
There's a couple different tactics to take, I guess, when you're moving towards an authority, and there's the incremental approach, just between two organizations. Right. If it's a general enough authority, you could incrementally add to it later. But there are a couple different ways, and that should be further discussed in that model that we're working on.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
Jason, if I can just add a little bit, since I've
Sure.
been part of those conversations as well, I think you've touched on some really important points, and obviously there is a lot of homework yet to be done before I think any of us feel like we're ready to move forward with suggesting an authority. But one of the things that was talked about at the last meeting that I think is a key ingredient for us to be able to share with one another and share with the general public, if we are to move forward in that direction, is an inventory of sorts, an inventory both of physical resources, the actual surfaces that we have for recreation, whether it's passive or active recreation in the area, but also resources in terms of already existing programming, already existing human resources in terms of people and what they provide, what their expertise is, and what even to the point of how many volunteers are associated with each of the different groups that do provide services in the recreation piece of that in our area. And I think that once we, in my mind, I think Jason would agree with me that, creating a catalog of those inventories for each of the individual groups involved in the process would be one of the key ingredients to starting that process, for us to truly realize what we need to do to better meet the needs of the community based on the results of the survey that Jason conducted a couple years ago, a year or so ago.
About 6 months ago.
Okay, 6 months ago. I think we all need to be aware of what already exists, and then from that we can start talking about how working even more collaboratively we could provide meet those needs the most effectively, and from that then we can take a look at the financial piece. What are the true consequences of our collaborations in the long term?
And the website that you're referring to, in essence, will be almost like that shopping list of programming and facilities.
Correct. And yes.
Of what's available. I mean, it'd be good, yeah.
The other piece of that to mention is one of the things that would be fantastic is if there was another community in the exact same situation that we are that eventually evolved into a Parks and Recreation Authority. We're fortunate in our community because Harry Burkholder is a part of it, and Harry's a state expert on the formation and the variety of different mechanisms in creating a Parks and Recreation Authority. So it's great because he's literally almost our next door neighbor. So I posed that question to him. I said, Harry, is there any other community that's been in the same situation that we are, that's considered or evolved to an authority? And he said, no. So we are kind of groundbreaking in the needs for an authority from us. So I wish there was someone that had done this before like this.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Just spontaneously, because of my involvement with transportation, and because of Tom Menzel's really impressive work with developing Beta and his desire and his promotion of fixed schedule routes, it just made me think about the fact that if there was this authority, that kids would be able to take a bus to come to these activities, and parents wouldn't all have to drive their kids there. So they might be able to get home and back, and so that would be another way that Beta could earn money and justify its existence. So this could lead to a lot of cool things.
Sure.
I'm seeing everybody leaning back in their chair, talking, and I would remind everybody that in order for everybody to hear us, we need to try to...
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
we need to try and speak into our microphones. But I know Jason's doing it, but go ahead, Rodetta.
Hi, Jason. We are including the baby boomers in this plan, right? Because percentage-wise, that's... And also, I was going to ask it anyway, but also you brought up the busing for children. And I think the busing for seniors is a possibility also. I don't want them to be left out.
Sure.
At all.
And that's one of the nice things about the Parks and Recreation Network is because we're trying to reach out to so many different organizations, the baby boomers are being reached because, they have involvement in the Cherry Capital Cycling Club who are involved in the network, and they have involvement through some of the other organizations that are there. So it's kind of I've discussed this briefly with Georgia, the Commission on Aging, but we're more kind of trying to catch, we're naturally catching a cross-section of the baby boomers because each of the different organizations are associated. And Bob, your comment about the busing, in most successful parks and recreation departments throughout the state, public transportation in the Parks and Recreation Department, it's a natural partnership in order to accommodate some of those schedules. So that's something that could be a secondary goal of an authority or of the Parks and Recreation Network, is to reach out and start developing some of those relationships as well.
Thank you.
All right. Next on your report?
Next on my list is Flying Gull Swim Lesson Scholarships. There's not been a tremendous amount of action on this item since our last meeting until this afternoon. As of tomorrow, we will be we'll be beginning registration for our spring swim lessons. We have a slate of, I don't recall the number of lessons. You know how many?
Altogether? Not sure.
So we have several lessons. Several lessons.
Okay.
Registration begins tomorrow, and TCAPS and both TCAPS and Child and Family Services have agreed to send out the information. Child and Family Services has already sent out the information about the Flying Gull scholarships. TCAPS, if it doesn't go out tomorrow, it'll go out next week. And I wanted to hit those two first because they're going to get the most out to the highest number of people. Next week, we'll get those out to some of the academies and charter schools around town as well. So we haven't received any responses. Like I said, that was sent out today in conjunction with our registration. Meyer House update. This was a topic that was asked about at our last meeting. Just to give the commissioners, you've all read, I would hope that you've all read my packet in regards to this issue. Facilities management completed, and you'll have to pardon me for reading through this because this is really a facilities management issue. It certainly occurs in one of our parks, but one of the unique things about our county is that facilities management has such a great impact on all of the departments. Our parks are parts of the facilities department as well as predominantly parks. But due to a training that Danny Brown, the director of facilities management, attended, he realized that the county needed to do a survey, an asbestos survey of all of its facilities. Well, when Danny did that, we found that there was asbestos in the Meyer home, or in the Meyer house. Comprehensively, Danny's working to find the best price, find the best value for having the asbestos abated in each of the county facilities. This touches on our department, specifically at the Meyer house. The Conservation District is interested in renting the home from us for utilization by some interns that they'd like to hire over the summer. Obviously, we've put that agreement on hold or even discussion about that until we get this asbestos abated. Danny has added or put the Meyer house at the top of the priority list, and if necessary, we'll have the asbestos abated from the Meyer home earlier than the rest of the facilities. That way we can move forward if necessary with the Conservation District to rent the home to them. Any funding associated with this will not come from the Parks and Recreation budget. It will come from the Facilities Management Department. So that's kind of where we're at with this. The comprehensive package that Danny has RF request for quotes out for is due March 29th. So I'll be able to update you more at our April meeting. But rest assured, we've not had any activity in the Meyer house for 2 years now, I believe. And certainly now that we know that there's a potential hazard there, we will not have any activity there until the asbestos is appropriately abated. So any questions in regards to that issue?
Is it just in the siding, like in the insulation of the pipes or something?
I believe there is, if I recall, there's asbestos around the pipes as an insulator. There is some of the siding used in some of the barns is asbestos. It's interior siding, or interior
Wallboard or something?
wallboard. Some of the floor tiles are asbestos, and there's a bag of asbestos.
In case anybody wants, okay.
Right. So, we're going to try and, facilities is working, this is one of their priorities, they're trying to take care of this as soon as possible.
Sorry. I remembered after the fact. Sorry, I didn't speak into the microphone.
I'm going to skip over the Civic Center master plan. It's been a pretty hectic month at Parks and Recreation with some of with the changeover to our spring swim lesson. So I've not had an opportunity to update the Civic Center master plan.
Jason, I do have a question. I know in our Civic Center master plan, we've looked at highlighting the Native American marker tree. I'm curious, I have not been over there since the storm to take a look at it. Did it suffer any damage?
No damage.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yep. Somewhat attached to the Civic Center master plan update, though, is an update that I wanted to let the commission know about. Another project that I'll be working on. I got together with John Syke, he's the county planning director, and asked him how the Parks and Recreation Commission, and the Parks and Recreation Department for that matter, could be more involved in the capital improvement process. Our department's kind of unique, and John confirmed this in my discussion with him earlier this week, that unlike any other department, unlike very few departments within the county, our department is very facility intensive. Typically, when a department has a project associated with a capital improvement list through the county, it's something that facilities management manages. Facilities management says, wow, the IT department needs to have this wall removed, so we're going to remove this wall and we're going to extend the space necessary for them. Or facilities will say, we need a new pickup truck because of whatever issue or whatever change has happened within another department. And that's kind of how the capital improvement process has moved forward. Because our department's unique in that we own our own facilities, our needs and the responsiveness that we need for the capital improvement process, the way it's always been done, isn't exactly appropriate for us to add things, some of the bigger ticket items that are associated within our Civic Center master plan. It's been John's suggestion, and I feel comfortable with this, is that we develop that I develop a capital improvement list associated specifically with our department for presentation down the line to the county commission. And John's intent is for that capital improvement plan to be tied directly to our budget each year. So I just wanted to update the commission. Now that we've got a good strategic plan or a good capital improvement plan associated with the Civic Center master plan, I'm going to incorporate that into a broader Parks and Recreation Department-wide capital improvement plan that's going to be associated with some other projects that we've got going on. There's an issue right now where we need to find a way to dispose of the sewage on Power Island differently than we have for the past 30 years. So there may be some cost there, and I'm in the process of exploring that. This is actually next week I'll be going out to the island to check out the soils and see what we can do for some type of a septic system out there. I'm working with the health department on that, and I hopefully will have something more to bring to this commission at our April meeting. But that's the type of thing that Danny Brown in facilities wouldn't always know about, needing a sewer system out at Power Island. And this is a new mandate by the state of Michigan that we need to do something different with the sewage out there.
I'm curious, what have we done in the past?
In the past, it's always
An
been...
outhouse?
In the past, we have 4 vault toilets, and in the past, we've pumped the vault toilets, and we've land applied, and that's been appropriate for the state of Michigan.
Land applied where?
Sprayed it?
Land applied on a portion of the island. It doesn't leave the island.
Oh, I see.
So we're not transporting sewage.
So now we
across the bay.
transport.
We
we
haven't
can
done
no
anything. This was brought up at the end of last season on Power Island. So because we've not had any usage of the island, or very little, if any, we haven't hauled any sewage yet this year. So where we're at right now is we kind of have, I've boiled it down basically to 2 options. We can either put a sewage system out on Power Island, Or we can find a way to
Haul
pump
it.
the sewage, put it on a barge, ship it across the bay, and have someone meet us at Bowers Harbor to pump it out. One of the challenges with that, I think we will be hard pressed to find a septage hauler that would be willing to pump it off of a barge, because if the sewage spills, could be some pretty costly cleanup effort. So it's an issue. I haven't brought it to this commission because I don't have a definitive answer yet, and it's taken some time because we actually need to get out onto the island, take some soil borings.
Okay.
And I'll be handling that actually next week with the health department. So you'll have an update on that, but those are the types of items. Danny doesn't get out to Power Island on a regular basis, so he's not aware of some of these things, and some of these capital improvement issues come to me. So that would be one of the items that would be included in this new capital improvement plan that would be specifically associated with Parks and Recreation. So that's kind of an update with where we're at with the capital improvement budgeting process, and how, and that capital improvement budgeting process and that capital improvement plan is really a great conduit for some of the bigger ticket items associated with our Civic Center master plan, including the possibility of redeveloping the pool, or the possibility of even annexing or taking ownership or working some type of deal out with TCAPS in order to eventually move into Oak Park Elementary and create a new Civic Center there, which was identified as the longest range plan associated with the Civic Center master plan.
Okay. Any questions on the director's report for
I
Jason?
have two more things that
I'm
aren't on there.
sorry, I thought we were at number
Small
7.
things. Nope, we are at number 7, but I've got an 8 and 9 that you guys don't
And
know
8
about.
and 9, all right.
It's been brought to we've been asked if we would like to have our meetings streamed online. The way our Parks and Recreation Commission meetings are set up right now, they're filmed by Leah, and then they're posted on Leah's website, so if anyone wants to watch them, they can go ahead and do that. The one feature we do not have that the county commission has is that our meetings are instantly streamed online. So if someone wanted to watch this meeting right now and we had this web streaming, they would be able to watch this real time on the internet. It's been brought to my attention, we can join the county's, I believe we could join the county's contract with Leah for $175 a year. This is money we've not budgeted, it's $175. I wanted to ask the commission what your thoughts were. Is this something we want to pursue? Is this something that we're indifferent about? It would be my recommendation that we haven't had anyone that's come to us and said, I'm not able to make it to your meetings. I'd really like to see them, that I know of. But in the event someone were to call us, we would be able to offer them 2 options. We would say, actually 3 options. We can give you the minutes of the meeting. We can burn a CD copy of the meeting for you if you want to stop in and pick it up, or we can mail it to you. Or you can go to Leah's website and stream it there and watch it, I think, for the following 30 days after our meeting. So it would be my recommendation. I don't think it's necessary for us at this point, because we do have 3 options for getting the information out about what happens at our meetings. But I wanted to bring it to the commission. It was brought to me, I think, Tuesday, and the county administration office, I think they want to know by next week whether or not we want to do this.
Would you like for us to vote on that?
I kind of wanted to run it up the flagpole and see if anybody was interested, and if someone is overwhelmingly interested, then yeah, sure, a vote.
My answer would be no.
Okay.
I don't necessarily.
I think that, for 30 days, anybody can go and watch our meetings, so they're available.
The 3 options,
Yeah,
I mean,
I just,
So what is the expenditure presently under the present setup?
We spend about $3,600 a year with the current contract that we have with LIA to come film our meetings, and they'll film up to 15 meetings a year. So our 12, and then we can do 3 specials, but that does not include that web streaming service.
Okay, so that web stream would be an additional.
Additional $175.
I vote no.
okay, I'm not hearing anybody standing up and cheering to switch what we're doing.
I vote no.
And then
Sorry.
The final item is something I'm kind of excited about. If any of you watch Channel 7 and 4, 29 and 8, we have been included in the Best Bets page for, well, let me start over. We purchased a...
I don't have cable, so I have no idea what he's talking
We
about.
purchased a marketing package through Channel 7 and 4 and 29 and 8 to do three things. We have 5-second television ads that run just for Easling Pool, that run during the morning newscast. Have you seen them, Rodetta? Fantastic.
And so have others.
What's that?
And so have others
Yeah.
have commented to me about them.
Great. So
Actually, positive comment.
Good. We've got 5-second ads that run on Channel 7 and 4 and 29 and 8 at this point. We have banner ads and a variety of, I think, 2 different ads that are on Up North Live's webpage. Up North Live is the webpage associated with 7 and 4 and 29 and 8. But we've also been included in their Best Bets page, which is an opportunity for citizens or anyone, frankly, to purchase a $50 gift certificate to the pool for $24.99.
For what?
$24.99. We have 200 of these available. They went on sale Monday, and we've sold 127.
I didn't know about this. I'm going to go home and buy one.
And so this is my plug to, I guess, to the world. I'm glad people
Let's
are
kind
watching.
of wrap this up so
I'm
I
glad
can get
people
home
are
in time
watching
to buy
us, but I'm directing everybody to turn off our meeting right now and go to Channel 7 and 4 and buy these Best Bets certificates. And they are available. They're available to anyone that goes to the page. But they can be used for memberships. They can be used for lessons. They can be used for birthday parties. It's a good opportunity for us. We've never done marketing like this, but
I'm glad to see it.
I think we're going to see some really good response from this. Just in the past week, all of you met Janine at our last meeting. Janine's been fielding the majority of the phone calls this week, I guess.
We have a lot of interest, especially for classes. A lot of parents are planning on using that coupon toward classes for their students tomorrow morning.
Great.
So, and we've been able to streamline the coupons, so if someone wants the coupon, they can order it online, or they can utilize it online by entering a coupon code during the checkout process for swim lessons. So I think it's going to be a good program. I don't have any results yet, other than 200 were available on Monday, and there's only 73 available.
We could wrap this up so I can go home and get one.
Sign up for Up Life.
Unless anyone has any questions,
It's going to save me $25 on my membership. What the heck?
and you can buy up to 2, so it'll save you $50.
There you go.
Unless anyone has any questions in regards to my report, that wraps it up.
All right. Anything under old business? Seeing nothing. New business. NER Advisory Committee appointments.
NER Advisory Board has requested the Parks and Recreation Commission appoint Ed Mayall and Grace Rudd to their committee for a 3-year term.
I would entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to nominate Ed Maley and the other person?
Grace Rudd.
And Grace Rudd to the NER Advisory Board.
Is there support?
Support.
It has been moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries.
Mr. Maley's name is spelled Moehle. That's the correct
Okay,
spelling?
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
thank you.
We are skipping under new business the Howe Arena fees. Number 3, Verizon easement at Civic Center. Jason?
I'm not gonna, it was my original intent to ask for a recommendation, but Verizon hasn't sent me the proper documentation for me to be able to give a proper recommendation to this commission.
All right.
I thought I'd introduce it if the commission would like.
So you're letting us know that Verizon is in the process of making a request.
Correct. We currently have a lease with them for the cell tower that was originally an Alltel lease. They want to upgrade their cell tower to
4G.
utilize 4G. In order to do that, they have to put fiber optic cable. They have to run it from Front Street all the way to their current tower. I said, in order to do that, we're going to have to adjust your lease. It's going to create, you have to create an easement. And they're in the process of creating that. I thought we would have it before this meeting. We don't.
All right.
So it'll be addressed at our April meeting.
Okay. This is the opportunity for, the second opportunity for public comment. Seeing no public present, notices and commissioner comments. Are there any notices from any of the commissioners or comments? Okay, I don't hear any. I do want to let everybody know that I was not able to attend the last T-Base meeting. It conflicts with the Garfield Township Board meeting, and I have made arrangements for Commissioner Lemkool, when that does conflict, to attend the Garfield Township meeting in my absence, because he also represents Garfield. But he was unable to make the last Garfield meeting, and my primary responsibility is to the township that I represent. So I did attend the Garfield Board meeting Tuesday instead of the T-Base meeting. So I don't have an update for you, but I hope to next month. Anything else from anybody? I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Supported?
Support.
Okay. And all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, same. Motion carries. We're done.
You know where you're going.